So today I'm doing a very quick and easy and of interest maybe only to me vlog about that I discovered randomly on the internet that there is a Seinfeld filming location near where I live here in Queens in New York City. And I had no idea. It's just a couple of blocks from my everyday sort of action space. And I just found out it was here and I researched it. Now the location doesn't exist anymore as a business. But I'm gonna go see if the building is still there. It's just a few blocks from me, and I'm gonna do a little outer borough Seinfeld location tour, and hope you guys enjoy. So we're approaching the location now, and I just want to see if the structure is still there from an episode that is particularly beloved. I'm standing here on the corner of 31st Avenue and 75th Street here in the East Elmhurst section of Queens. It's apparently been side named Mount Everest Way. I'm assuming that is owing to the Nepali and perhaps Tibetan community that lives here in Queens. So the place I'm looking for is gone, but there's a remnant of it left. So this is part of what was Dante's Catering Hall, which was an Italian restaurant and wedding hall, where in the episode 3 of season 9, The Serenity Now, this is where Elaine comes to Mr. Lippman's son's bar mitzvah. And Mr. Lippman, of course, was her boss at Pendant Publishing. And so this was, this is what is left of Dante's. It is now, obviously the building has been added to, but it is now a children's place. But this part of the building, which I'm going to try and match with some images online, the sign up there said Dante's Catering, and then here there was a giant awning here, but this is where it had been. And then you can see as I come around, there's a little bit left of the other side. Of the exterior has been totally redone, and there's a Petco there now. For those of you who know that much beloved episode, what happens when Elaine enters the bar mitzvah and Mr. Lippman introduces her to his son, who proclaims that he's now a man, of course the son infamously goes and smacks a kiss on Elaine, which, if you look at some of the YouTube comments on that clip, people are like, you could never get away with that kind of content today on a mainstream network sitcom. But in the late 90s, it was perfectly acceptable. So it's just so funny. This is such a nondescript strip mall, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty featureless. It's sort of the definition of featureless. But I had no idea that there was a Seinfeld filming location right in my backyard, basically. And from what I've researched online, from old Google images I can find, this is definitely the building. It just had a massive overhaul. So I've pulled up an image from Google Images, which looks like it was taken after the place was closed down, but you can see the difference with how it looks today. But this is definitely the building from the beloved Seinfeld episode. And now we are on to the next location, which is actually from the same episode, The Serenity Now. Although it's a place, as you'll see from many other episodes. Now, while we're still in the borough of Queens, we've gone from the East Elmhurst section to Astoria, which is one of Queens' principal neighborhoods, of course named infamously after the Astor family. And I think you're gonna love seeing this next location. It'll bring you some serenity. And unlike Dante's Catering, I've actually been to this location before. I came here a couple of summers ago in sort of a bucket list situation. And so I have a pretty good idea of where it is. And we are here. We have achieved serenity now. So now, guys, we have arrived at the house of Frank and Estelle Costanza. Now this is what I call a little piece of serenity on a sleepy street in the Ditmars part of Astoria, which is kind of like the northern part of Astoria. And I think this is an extremely familiar location to loyal viewers like myself and anyone watching who has an interest in Seinfeld still to this day. And just for sort of a kind of phony authenticity, I am wearing my Kramer t-shirt. I was actually gonna wear I was like, oh, I should wear like a button-up collared shirt or something for this. And I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta wear the Seinfeld shirt on the Outer Borough Seinfeld tour. So I came here a couple of years ago, and there was a woman who was sweeping the sidewalk in the neighboring house, and she was telling us a story that she remembered the exterior filmers coming here in like 1990 to do the establishing shots of Frank and Estelle's house. And there is a really nice video from, I think, 2010 from the New York Daily News, where a Daily News reporter brought Jerry Stiller out here to the Costanza house, which he'd actually never been to in all the years that he was on the show. So this is a little bit further from where I live, but it's so classic. It was built I read it was built sometime in the 1920s, I think 1924. And the Costanzas were meant to live in the left door of this two-family home. And yeah, it's just a cool place to visit. You can definitely achieve serenity here. Oh, and lest I forget, even though this is a hot summer day and it's not quite Festivus season, this is where one celebrates Festivus. This is where Festivus originated.
Happy Festivus, George. This is a surprise.
And there are a lot of people in Brooklyn to this day who sort of have phony like Festivus celebrations. It's kind of like an aging hipster thing that people were doing 20 years ago or something in a post-Seinfeld New York City. But yeah, so there's a lot of Seinfeld history with this exterior. Although they never actually showed, to my knowledge, they never showed any of the actors, or much less body doubles, come in or out of the house. They didn't show, there was never any human activity like by the, coming and going from the front door. They just showed stayed pictures of the home. And now we are done with the two-part Queens location of this vlog, and we're going to be heading over to Brooklyn to look at an infamous Brooklyn exterior location where they actually did use a body double for one of the stars. So let's go check that out. About to get on the road. Here we are in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, at the Russian Orthodox Cathedral of the Transfiguration. But as Seinfeld fans, we might know it as the Latvian Orthodox Church, where Kramer is diagnosed with a kavorka, and he has to, with the lure of the animal. And Sister Roberta is thinking about leaving the Latvian Orthodox Church. This is in the episode The Conversion, where George comes to convert to Latvian Orthodoxy. Although there are a bunch of things about this episode that are kind of incongruous. One is that apparently Lutheranism is the dominant religion in Latvia, I guess from the Reformation spreading from Central Europe to the Baltics. Although there is a Latvian Orthodox religious minority. But I remember driving by this place sometime in the late 90s, and I was like, oh my God, that's the church from Seinfeld, because I remembered Michael Richards playing Kramer, or very more likely a body double, because Seinfeld was, of course, being taped in Los Angeles, and I doubt that Michael Richards was flown here to the East Coast just to film this. So here is a screen grab I made from YouTube, from a clip from the Conversion, where the Kramer body double is running up the stairs, and you can see that even today it perfectly matches the exterior. It's a pretty grand building, and I love that it still exists in ultra gentrified Williamsburg. Another interesting thing that I find about this place is that there isn't any kind of Russian community here in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, to particularly speak of. There's, of course, a nearby Polish community in Greenpoint, which is Catholic. but there isn't like a huge Russian diaspora here in Williamsburg, and I've never also like bothered to look into what the history of this place was. But I always love the fact that I hang out in this neighborhood every day, and I love the fact that there is a Seinfeld filming location here, and this one is extremely recognizable. Probably I would say on about the same level as the Costanza House. And if you guys want to see more content like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.